Hello and welcome to Oracle Storytelling. Hi, I'm Sarah. I do Oracle Storytellings. I do these intuitive stories through just downloading or also using Oracle and Tarot decks to bring things to light. I'm also an intuitive artist. And you can find my intuitive art on Facebook, Instagram, or my website. And that's all going to be under the name Sarah Wing Intuitive Arts. You can find more Oracle storytelling videos in the playlist here on YouTube. And I think I made it about 2 minutes in before I had video issues. And I had to start over. So that's fun. I was kind of expecting something with how much energy we're being inundated with in terms of beginnings and endings. It's a lot of that energy. So welcome if it's your first time being here with me or exploring these playlists. For a really long time, I've truly felt like I've been in a void space, like a mystery, like living in a mystery, living in the unknown. And I say mystery and unknown because I'm just so used to it. I'm just so used to being, and I say void space, mystery, I think, or unknown is a great way to describe it, because I feel like emotionally you can connect to that, maybe even have visuals or flashes of times in your life, parts of your life. Void space works for me because it just kind of like makes me think of kind of this galactic space, just this open space in the galaxy, all this just black, this unknown. But what I have noticed lately, and maybe you have too, is things are percolating up, things are coming up that are more tangible, that I can look at and examine and address. And this is all happening in the past month or so. Definitely coordinating very squarely with the kind of setup phase of Venus retrograde, which we're now, we got Mercury retrograde. We've got so many freaking planets in Pisces, right? Anyway, we got a lot of celestial energies coming in that are really helping to chip away at and like kind of crackle, break open into endings and new beginnings. Maybe you're feeling that on some level, even if you don't feel like you've been living in a mystery. You feel like, I so squarely know exactly where I am. Maybe it's the opposite side of the coin that you've been feeling. But lately, maybe like me, things are percolating up. And I say percolating up meaning these things have been there, they've been sitting there, and you have been to some degree sitting on them. And now they're squarely in your face to address. And that's a really good thing because we are in a space where it is so important in terms of endings and new beginnings to do some pretty badass truth-telling. We've been experiencing a lot of cosmic energy through Pisces that has for quite some time now brought through a lot of confusion or trickster energy. Maybe Neptune has been making you feel like, I don't know, some days I feel like I'll be like, I'm not high, but I feel high. it'll just suddenly be like, whoa, and my camera just did a very trippy jump there. So we'll see if this is even recording the second time. Yeah, but it's kind of like a massive wake-up call, especially if we've been surfing in and out of these energies, which I know I have. For me, I probably do it more with like TV shows and stuff like that, you know, that kind of like fantasy escape. But yeah, it's just a lot. Oh, so much going on. I'm gonna in the description, I'm going to place names of teachers, spiritual teachers. A lot of them will just on the surface look like astrological teachers, but you know, spiritual teachers that have really been helpful for me. I've definitely been kind of circling or being a little more re-inundated with some of them lately that have percolated, kind of pop back on the scene. And so I want to make sure that things I speak to that are coming through teachings that I've met with through them recently, you know, who knows? Maybe you'll also connect with one of them in a one-off little deep lesson way. So, yeah, I do want to do some oracle. So I'm going to do the Fairy Tale Oracle by Lucy Cavendish, one of my favorite oracle girls. And then Angel Tarot Cards by Radley Valentine. And I do think we need to go on a little bit of a quest here. And I think maybe I'll start with the Fairy Tale Oracle and then dive into channeling some things, but also I did write down some words of wisdom from a few teachers that if they resonate with you, I think would be extremely helpful because I know they're helpful in guidance to me and you are watching me. So let's get a Fairy Tale Oracle. A lot of dialogue I'm hearing when I'm kind of tapping into or listening to different spiritual teachers talk. There's references of like dark night of the soul, like we're all kind of going through this dark night of the soul. And one of my teachers actually referenced like the level that we're able to tap into is so deep that it's like we can even tap into and are being influenced by a level of like a soul wisdom akin to a near-death experience. So this is the kind of little journey we're going on today. And this card just came out. And as I was shuffling even earlier, I saw this card twice, so I'm not surprised. All right. It's Cinderella. It's pumpkin time. Wow. Okay, well, already I gotta say, really positive, right? I'm gonna reference and read some from the book, and I think this is like the raw Hans Christian Andersen, so you know it's gonna be a little gnarly. Because fairy tales, as they're perceived through like Disney and animation, very different. Okay, it's very different than if you read like Hans Christian Andersen. So the number is 9. I was hoping to read about that from today from a teacher too. The number is 9. It's Cinderella, and the word is magic. Now, I cannot help but just see what she's doing here. She is really, I mean, it's like she's listening, really. She's listening, and she's listening to this clock, this ticking clock. So, you know, in the story of Cinderella, if you know, if you don't know, at midnight, she turns back, okay? So, like, the pumpkin. So this must be the moment right after. So she's turned back into her plain clothes from her ball gown, her glass slippers left behind, her carriage is turned into a pumpkin, Her footmen, people who help her in the carriage, direct the horses, have turned back into mice. That's just so interesting. She's listening. It feels like she's very, to me, this just speaks to like being very conscious of a transformation taking place. Like, so the awareness, again, bubbling to the surface, this great awareness of like, okay, this just bubbled up. It just hit me in my face, as bold as bippity boppity boop. I'm in a pretty sparkly dress now. Like, the kind of things that are like coming to the surface now are like the kind of things you really can't ignore. Like, poof, magical new clothing. Seeing things in a light that were, for lack of a better term, in the dark. Okay? So either literally, metaphorically, but it's connected to you. This isn't going to be stuff coming up that has nothing to do with you. Very directly connected to you. Probably things that could even have had a snowball effect for a while. Right? So this accumulation of wisdom kind of winding up, and when it magically pops up, when the pumpkin turns into a carriage, it's not so much like, I don't feel like it's so much like a surprise as much as having this very conscious awareness of it and directly having to deal with it. I feel like this is her being responsible. Like, she understands things are coming up, and she has to be aware that, okay, this is happening during this time. These are the reasons why it's happened. Okay, this is how long. I feel like there's just such a conscious awareness happening. Do 9. Now, go to the ball, said the fairy godmother, but be sure to leave before midnight. At the last stroke of midnight, the coach will be a pumpkin again, the horses will become mice. Oh, the horses will become mice. The coachmen rats, and the footmen will be frogs. And, she added, your gown will turn back into rags. Yeah. Another way to kind of think about that is, you could also be brought, everything's kind of a great both and. So the awareness could even be like about, you could be standing there in the metaphorical coach and gown and everything, and things could be, this is all about endings and beginnings. So this could truly be a case of your, these beautiful, the beautiful way that maybe you've seen yourself one way for a while. The way, the way you travel, the way you move through the world, the people that are there to assist you. These relationships with yourself and with the world and with certain people, they could be turning to rags for some time now. Your Corvette, these Corvettes could be turning into Camrys slowly but surely, and you're just kind of like, it's fine. Like, kind of that, like, out of sight, out of mind. Put a little duct tape on something, just, it'll hold. But we all know eventually things that are in decay, eventually they have their time, they have their reason, their season, their moment. It's like anything, you hold on to anything too long, and it's so true. This is so horrible to say, but you start to become part of that decay, right? Because it's part of you. It's your relationship to yourself, to others, to the world. And these parts of us, when we hold on to them, parts of us start to decay. And it's, certain amounts of friction in relationship or erosion are natural because you need little irritants to understand you're at moments of transformation. You know, the irritation in the sand and the clown to make the pearl. The erosion that happens that leads to renewal. Where did I write? I wrote down about the number 9 today. I want to read that because it was so beautiful. Where did I write the number 9? So when I listen to and watch teachers that I really respect, I take so many notes. It's incredible. So the number 9, because this card is 9, and this is really, talk about beginnings and endings. Jesus Christ, life-changing, right? And I think we are all at a point where we are at big life-changing crossroads. Whether you're like me, you've been in this unknown mystery void space forever, or if you feel very inundated by things and you go, I'm not missing anything. Everything's in front of my face all the time, you know? So the number 9, because this is 9, 9 is a lot of things, but I wrote down leading by example, soul purpose, endings and beginnings, and learning to say no. So I'm going to go ahead and re-emphasize that no meaning. Yeah, decay, because it's just such an ick word, but it sticks to me. So hopefully it'll stick to you. The idea of saying no and not continuing to say yes to different ways to relate to ourselves, to others, to the world that are just linking us to things that are decaying. You know, it's another way of saying we've outgrown, we've this, we've that, but that I feel is like even too nice. I think we're just at a point where it's like, you know, off with the head of whatever these things are. Decay. Because on some level, we really do, you know, I mean, imagine whatever these things percolating up for you. Imagine them like, you know, a favorite sweater, you know, and you wear the sweater all the time. And you're like, I love this. This sweater is me. People see me. They're like, oh, that's Sarah. Like, that's her sweater. That's her. That look, it's her sweater. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. You walk in the room and it's like the sweater's all the confidence in the world, but you wear that thing constantly. What's going to happen? It's going to pill. Eventually, it's going to get like threads in it. It's going to get like, you know, all of a sudden there's a hole in it. Where do the holes in clothes come from? We don't know most of the time, okay? Unless you're poking holes in your clothes, it just happens. And then we're like, oh, we'll just be more careful with these things, but they're falling apart, okay? Like signs of decay. So they're already starting to like strip away. And we're like, oh, we'll be more delicate. We'll be more careful. Well, then instead of, then we start kind of like, oh, okay, well now we have to treat this aspect of ourselves differently, right? To avoid kind of dealing with the decay, the erosion of it, right? Oh, we'll just treat it differently. When you wear it, you know, well, don't wear anything too restrictive over that sweater because, you know, the sweater's just not keeping up so well. Or, yeah, just the way that you wash it and care for it, or often you can't wear it as often, but you still want to keep it around, you know? But eventually, this thing that used to bring you so much confidence, this thing of people went, oh, there's Sarah, and it's like the iconic sweater, the iconic whatever. They don't remember that. And they're not, other people are, again, especially people who know us, we're intuitive people, right? But they're also intuitive people. And they know when we've outgrown something the second we start talking about it. But it usually takes, you know, ourselves, a human being who's addressing it, longer. But I'm going to tell you, one day we'll put that sweater on, go out into the world, and be like, everything's fine. Not dealing with stuff, not confronting issues. And the world's going to see us, and we'll be in a gross old sweater filled with holes, wondering why people are looking at us so strangely. Like, why? Why wouldn't we're like, ha, just thinking everything's fine. We go in for a hug, and people are like, what the hell? Looking at us like, is that clean? Like, what's going on there? Are you okay? They start asking us questions. How are we? How are we? And that's when we're really in the thick of it, you know? And I think that for better, for worse, if we have any of these things going on right now, which we all do on some level, you know, all these ready old decaying things energetically are sitting on us, and they affect our health and well-being, the way we treat ourselves, the way we treat other people. They affect how much time we have for the things we love. They affect if we make time for the things we love, for the people we love. So it's kind of this huge, huge thing going on right now. And it's happening, like I said, in such a way where things are coming up. They're bubbling up. Okay? It's like we've submerged certain things for so long. We've put things in, we've kind of blocked them from the light. We kind of go, okay, I'm not ready for that journey yet. Well, sometimes you just can't keep going down a certain road because, you know, a tree falls. I think we each have a couple trees being felled right now that we just have to confront. So let's see what will help us with this. Using the Angel Tarot. Okay, so Queen of Earth. I love the art on these cards. Queen of Earth, thoughtful, creative, warm, sensible. Make time for those around you. Take a sensible approach. Deal with challenges in a kind and understanding manner. Which is a great advice. So we could not, we need to be so kind and understanding to ourselves right now. Because whatever things are confronting and coming up for us right now, I think they're all going to be pretty big and pretty draining. And if we think we can just plow right through, I'm going to tell you we can't, or we're going to get very lost in a little dreamy state. We're going to get, good Lord, we're going to get so many lessons coming through to us in a way that will be distorted if we aren't slowing down a little bit and looking at things with the ultimate, like the most kindness and compassion you can give to yourself when you're looking at these things coming up. This is not a tear down, breakthrough, push through thing. It just isn't. I mean, like, you know, an emergency comes up. It's not like you're going to be like, well, let me just slow down. And like, I don't know. Oh, you need me to come to the ER? Well, let me take a nap. Well, no, obviously not. But in the actual processing, dealing, consideration of what is my role? What do I need to do right now? When this comes up, where is my responsibility to myself? How am I showing myself, you know, expressing love for myself in the choices I make, integrity in the choices I make? How is this coming up for me? And slowing down in the sense of you can be there for others. You can be there for others in a million ways, but you need to slow down in the time that you're making for yourself so you can find your place and not get lost in any kind of disillusion, diluted version of things that are coming up for you, because the things that are coming up collectively are big. for everyone. And the things that are coming up personally for us right now are big. This is big endings and beginnings. And the main ending thing is the end of suppressing all the stuff that's coming up. Any big thing, any of these snowballs that have been going for a while that are to the surface right now, you can't push them back down. That game is over. That bullshit is gone. These things coming up, they can't go back down again. I don't care how many, you're like, I've suppressed this and not dealt with this for 20, 30 years. Doesn't matter. Or 20, 30 days, whatever. Like, most likely way longer though. Yeah, this is the thing. The reason I say you need to slow down with yourself, okay? Especially if you're going a million miles an hour with others. Especially if you're always engaged, and being like the forklift to any problem. And then you come home and you're like, oh, I'm so exhausted. Well, all the things that you've been avoiding, the really big ones, they're going to be popping up right now. And they need you to slow down. They need all your kindness and compassion that you can muster. Because this makes me think of like a golden cauldron. So this is a level of concentration and mastery. It's saying, take a sensible approach. It's so interesting. I want to read a little bit about this because she's really gathering these things up. Queen of Earth. Yeah, someone who cares about, so it's a lot about so it is about how we relate to other people and being with others. So again, there is handling challenges with understanding and warmth, but also with confidence and resourcefulness. All these, unselfish, family-oriented, sensible, excellent with money, down to earth, yet enjoys beautiful things. I would say the way that you personally are with the people you love, the way you give them time and attention, concern, the way they live rent-free in your head, and you wouldn't have it any other way right now. There can be some challenges with that because you really need to start treating yourself, putting yourself on that level. Really, really putting yourself on that level. Really understanding that the person you represent in this life is you. You're not the representative. You're not an employee of your friends and family. I mean, maybe you are, but you know what I'm saying. You're not in their employ. You're not their PR person. You're not, I mean, Cinderella was called Cinderella because her name's Ella, and she was covered in cinders. And a lot of us who are find ourselves in positions where it's like, maybe your whole lifetime you've been the one cleaning up the mess. It's always been you. You're the little Cinderella or fella, right? It's always been your job, even though it's not your job. You got to keep everything clean like you are, the family's PR machine. And you know what a fucking shit show it is because you're the one always shoveling the shit. And you think, well, I had to be this way because this is what life has handed me. And I think this is a beautiful time to see that there's a lot more being handed to you right now. And even if it looks like coal and not a gift, it truly is. It truly is a gift because, again, big endings, big changes, new beginnings. Some other supportive, I've just got a couple supportive factors. Supportive. Oh, Lord. Okay, so 16, life experience, Archangel Shamuel, a significant life event, a powerful revelation that leads to change. Time to spread your wings. Okay, so this is life experience. Big change. This is this could be even like life review. Okay? That level, like the major things in your life review. Almost, it's like a soul review, basically. It's like, imagine your magical fairy god person comes to you and says, let's review your life. Well, this is all, we've seen you do this and that, and you've done all these things. What do you want now? Do you want to keep doing these things? It's your sliding doors Gwyneth moment. It's your fairy godmother moment. It's some serious heavy shit. It is looking at heavy stuff. This is your life. It's a life review while you're still alive. I mentioned one of my teachers akinning this current astrological energy to near-death experiences. Being able to see so clearly, see the way, like, see through the eyes of the soul. The opportunity to see with that level of clarity. And this card is just backing that up. So it's so interesting because I've been following somebody who a lot of her purpose has been driven by her experience of her near-death experience. And a huge theme when you have a near-death experience, a lot of people report all the things that drop away, all the things that aren't you, all the things you don't worry about anymore. You still feel connected. You're not exactly you anymore. You know, your form is whatever your form is, and you're not connected the same way to those on Earth, but at the same time, you're connected to everyone. And you're shown certain things, you get to explore certain things. It's the broadness of all there is. Or even if it's fractions of a little angel's raindrop, little fairy drop of rain for all there is, you're shown. And it's this magnified, marvelous magnitude of limitlessness you get a taste of. And everyone, another common theme is to just talk about not religion, not, do this, don't do that. It's just talking about divine love. Like this, the overarching, just the real thing. People say like the only thing real is love. I'd say the only thing real is divine love. Divine love and karma in the sense of neutrality, not like this is bad, this is good, but just in the sense of balance. So even looking at your life kind of karmically in terms of where are you out of balance? Where are you sacrificing? Where are you sacrificing parts of your life, whole areas of your life, parts of yourself, just to sacrifice? And kind of asking the big questions like, okay, let's life review that. Let's just look like, where are the areas of my life that I am basically just sacrificing my life? I cannot be the only one that relates to this. What are those areas? And a great question that I love anytime I hear it is, and I think it tracks well, say you're making a list like this, you want to do it, you want to make a list of what areas of my life am I sacrificing myself, where I'm sacrificing area life, part of myself. You don't even have to say, but if, and if I wasn't, I could be doing this, because that's a bit distracting and kind of besides the fucking point, because it's not what you're fucking doing now. So making that list and then looking at these ways you sacrifice. And one great question to ask yourself with every item is this: am I doing this to get to enough? And if you blow through that question and you don't sit with it at all, go back. Everyone, am I doing this to get to enough? It's such a great question to check back in on anyway when these big events, life shifts come up, because the truth is that we're all enough. We all have innate worth, and we're all worthy and loved. And if there is anything you're doing, I'm a human being, you're a human being, I'm going to guarantee there are things you've done in your life that you did do, that you do now, that you've maybe done your whole life, that you do to get to a sense of being enough. And these are things that, again, you could be doing them your entire existence. And if this clicks, if you make a little list or a different kind of list, and you just ask yourself questions, oh my God, you could do this. You could do not even a life review. You could do like a month review, a day review, and just generally think about make a list. Am I doing, or you're entering into a new habit, a new relationship, a new whatever it is. And it's a really good question to say, am I doing this to get to enough? Like, if I didn't do, or maybe you do things, so do other people, but you do them 10 times over. So it's like, is it okay if you were to help somebody with one thing, but then say no, another 9 times? Are you okay with saying no? Or do you feel like if you said no, that just doesn't, that hits you in a place where you go, I'm not enough in this person's eyes, in this situation, under this category, unless I do all of these things. There's healthy, anything can be healthy, okay? Healthy can be a lot of things. But so many things that all human beings do, right? So many things that we individually have patterns in our life we're doing to get to enough, a sense of enough for someone else, enough for ourselves to do this or that. I can't do that yet because I haven't done enough with this before it goes into the world. This person doesn't love me the way I need to be loved, or doesn't pay attention to me, or just doesn't, my parents don't have unconditional love for me, but if I do this, just sitting with yourself and being real life experiences. Are we experiencing life in some patterns right now to get to enough? Under a category, under an ideal. That's all bullshit. In the eyes of somebody, what are we on that treadmill for? That's has nothing to do with self-love, divine love. We're all human. We all do these things. And this is a time where I think a lot of that's going to come up. And I think it's a really healthy anchor in question. So I wanted to put that out there. If something is coming up and you're not sure how to address it, maybe something's coming up and it's a consequence because you've been chasing the enough in other places. And these areas where you're out here and you're not coming in here, there are parts of you that are starting to decay, that need nurturing and attention, need you to slow the fuck down and be the most understanding and generously kind and compassionate to yourself right now. Okay, I'm going to do one more card. Heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. Okay. Well, the word that came through was expectation. In reverse, of course. Scholarly, dependable, patient, successful. Oh, that's good. Good news about financial matters, wanting to do something more challenging, a new area of study. So it's in reverse, I'm going to say this. Whether or not you believe in something is not necessarily the anchoring force by any means of whereby something will happen or not. Just like you don't have to get to enough points of belief within yourself. You know, we're not an island. Man is not an island. We live with billions of people, trillion people. How many people are on the planet? We live with a lot of people. We are social creatures. Anything you do, any place you drive to, you spend every day alone, going to places by yourself. Those places are there because of other people. Okay. So, I'm going to put this with this. That, hello, there is a collection of treasure, of abundance. This is financial, so good. I'm going to say finance can be money, but also just security. A gain in security. And by the way, when you start acknowledging patterns in you that you are doing to get to enough, the ways you act towards yourself, towards other people, that are all about trying to get to enough, and you start to eliminate, work through those, you are gathering up all this abundance. Again, part of it, yes, financial, sure. But I think safety, security, these feelings of safety and security grow when we start eliminating things that we're doing just to get to enough. And if this doesn't make sense to you, sit with it. Think about it, because you are a human being, and this is every fucking human being. So I feel like I look at her and I feel like she's not the most confident. I don't see confidence here. And I don't see like the most brave or the most sure of herself sitting in the highest belief. But I do see somebody who's piqued an interest in something different. They want to understand themselves better. Okay. You want something more challenging, a new area of study. Yeah. Certain things, have to end. You're ready for new challenges, not the same old challenges that you've just decided, like, that's the way life is. That's who I am. Because, this is a time where you can't get away with that shit. You just can't. Life's going to let you know that, hey, guess what? Ready or not, we are going to have you confront more of who you are as a person. And by doing that, you're going to know yourself more. You're going to feel more safe and secure. You're going to, you're going to take on new challenges. You're generally going to understand how to love yourself more. This is a lifelong journey. This is not like a one-off timetable, astrological table. But, my God, it's gonna bring you to things like being more courageous and brave. Being courageous and brave, it's not like you are fearless. It's not that. Sometimes it feels like you're being forced to do something. And right now, I think a lot of us are being confronted by things that we know we should be dealing with. And maybe we deal with some guilt and some shame around that, clear that out. But then kind of feel like the universe is almost forcing us to deal with it, because it is. It's time. And comfortable or uncomfortable, usually very uncomfortable. Life experience, life review, very uncomfortable. we're going to be hysterically, as uncomfortable it is, we're suddenly going to be brave about things and courageous. And we might feel like shit while we're doing it, but we'll be doing it because we know it's the right thing for us to do. Not for someone else to do, but for us. Which might also scare us shitless, but ironically will make us act in ways that we go, look back on, and not too long go, sigh of relief. I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I was brave enough to do that, courageous enough to do that, to put myself first in a very healthy way, to not diminish myself in hopes that somebody else can help me, but helping myself in a way that is scary. But I have to do it because it's time, and I don't want these parts or traits or relationships with my ways I relate to myself to decay anymore. It's like, wake up. Again, don't care if you press stuff down a million times, you just can't press it down anymore. Time's up. And this 16 also stands for the Tower card. So the Tower is always like a scary card for people. Not always, but I mean, I love the Tower card because to me, it is talking about the foundations. So imagine a tower that crumbles to the ground. And it's often translated through stories like the dark night of the soul, these cycles that we go through, where it seems like everything crumbles away. Maybe we feel like we're even dying when we're not truly dying, but we feel like we're dying. We lose our job, we lose our best friend, we lose our significant other, we lose everything, it seems like. But this is the undeniable way we are confronted to look at what is our root, what is our base, what are we building everything upon? Because it's us. And, you know, sometimes it does reach a time when, again, this decay sets in. And decay in certain areas of our life. Eventually, the tower crumbles. And that's okay. But we have to look at that platform that it's built upon and see what's the foundation here. How are we going to nurture that foundation? And how are we going to build upon it now, knowing that the way we're doing it before, it just crumbled? So I'm going to end there and send lots of love. And I hope this was helpful. I was cursing more than I usually do, so I hope that was very motivational. Just sending love. And you are always loved. You're loved right now. You are loving. You are worth loving. Because you are loved. You are innately worthy. And we all have areas of our life throughout our life where we are trying to get to enough. It's not a flaw. You didn't do anything wrong. You can't get it wrong. Deep breaths, big exhales, kindness and love to yourself in a way that maybe even makes you uncomfortable. And until next time.